Hello everyone, this is Coach Chance, and welcome back to Sky Oaks Chess Club Advanced Lessons. Today we'll be going over an introduction to the Najdorf Sicilian. This is a specific Sicilian that I play in particular, and next week we'll be going over a different variation of the Sicilian called the Dragon Sicilian. But for this week, we're going to learn just generally what the Najdorf Sicilian looks like. So I'll be showing you two lines of the Najdorf Sicilian. One of them is the main line idea, and the second of them is what you'll probably see if somebody has no idea what the heck they're doing against it and just decides to play normally as white. So, this opening is played as black when white plays their king's pawn up 2 and they play e4, and you respond by, instead of taking this d4 square with your e pawn, you go ahead and control it using your c pawn. You play c5. In the main line of the Sicilian defense, you'll see normally white respond with the exact same thing that they normally would play. Just normal king's pawn game. The idea for black is to then take the second dark square that they haven't already taken, and then you have white controlling these two light squares, just like normal. Black controlling these two dark squares in the center, just like normal. So d6 is the move. In the main line, you will see this move played right here, d4, which goes ahead and challenges the center. What you'll want to do is take, and after white takes with their knight, you go ahead and play knight to f6, attacking their pawn, and they play knight to c3, defending their pawn. And now this is where the line between the dragon and the Najdorf Sicilians split. In the Najdorf Sicilian, the move here is a6, and the idea here is to stop either of these knights or this bishop from coming to b5 and getting into your back line easier. It's kind of a preventative move, but one that allows for some nice counterattacking opportunities with b5 and a good setup with bishop b7, attacking that pawn on e4. So, again, an idea is we're going to be playing b5 and bishop to b7. And so, in order to not block in our bishop from attacking that pawn, we'll be wanting to go knight from b here to d7. we'll be wanting to play e6 and bishop into e7 in order to castle kingside. So again, our development plan is our white bishop is going to be on b7, our other knight is going to go to d7, and our black squared bishop is going to go to e7. Eventually, we can decide where we want our queen, but that is not quite as important as getting our other pieces out right now. You'll see a lot of times bishop to c4. In this case, we have figured out probably where we want to put our queen. Because the knights cannot come here to b5, we like this spot, c7, for our queen. And so now we are attacking the bishop and kind of forcing it to move back so that it stays on this diagonal. Now we can play knight to bd7, just normal stuff. You'll usually see something like bishop to e3 here. We can play b5. A lot of times you'll see castles here. We can just play bishop to b7 here. Keep our development going. You'll usually see queen to d2. We'll play bishop to e6, or sorry, pawn to e6 here. A lot of times you'll see rook to e1. We continue our development just like our plan said that we should. And you'll see something like rook to the center, and black goes ahead and castles. So, with that being said, this is the general setup for the Najdorf Sicilian. It's not always what's going to happen, but this is what you want to look for in the most general sense. Of course, we only moved our queen to c7 because this bishop went to c4. In other cases, we might want to play b5 first and put our queen on b6, attacking that knight. That's an option. In other cases, we might want to put our knight on c6 and our queen on d7. There are a lot of different ways that you can develop, and that's why the positional and tactical play is very, very good with the Najdorf Sicilian. You just have to tell where exactly are your pieces going to be the best they can be for the game. It depends on how your opponent plays, how you play. Again, it depends how your opponent plays that determines how you are going to play. So, now that we've gone over the Najdorf main line, we'll go over a little bit of an example of how things are going to look if your opponent doesn't exactly know what they're doing, and you have to play the Najdorf against just a normal e4 opening. So it starts with the same moves as we showed in the previous game. With these starting 4 moves, you'll a lot of times then see bishop to c4. Just developing like normal. In this case, you want to continue just like we continued last time. Go ahead and develop that knight and attack the pawn. In this situation, white is probably going to do one of 2 things. They'll play... Sorry, I'll go to 3 things, but one thing is purely situational, and we won't go over it. They could play knight to g5, attacking your f7 pawn, but that's a pretty easy thing to defend, right? If knight to g5, putting 2 attackers on this pawn, a very easy fix is just play e6, blocking the bishop's path, because you're going to play it anyway, so you can play bishop into e7. It's just accelerating what you have to do. But normally, white will either play d3, defending this pawn, or they'll play knight to c3. We're going to assume that white just takes the development. In this case, again, we don't want anything on b5, so we play a6. Of course, this is going to end in white just continuing on with what they were doing. We can play b5 now. It's not a bad idea. This bishop is kind of not looking too good over here in the corner. They have to watch out for that now. And then we just continue on with our normal development. We'll say that this happens. And now we play something along the lines of... let's call e6 our next move. Notice how we have taken a lot of space on this side in particular. White does not have a lot of space to move around on the queen side, and that is by design. The Najdorf is a big space taker. It makes you have better positional play in order to force your opponent to make mistakes, and off of those mistakes, you can use tactics, which, of course, fits Kasparov's playstyle very well. And if you are looking to play this way, the Najdorf Sicilian is a good option. Let's say that white castles. We'll continue our development with bishop to e7. We'll say that white plays queen to d2. We're going to continue our development. We'll say that rook e1 happens now. So now we have a couple of options, and this is purely up to you with what you want to do. In the making a plan video in the normal lessons, we saw that if we castle queenside against a kingside castle, we can throw all of these pawns at the king. Now, what's different between the mainline Najdorf Sicilian and this Sicilian where white's just playing a normal opening is this pawn right here, this c5 pawn. In the main line, it is gone. There is no c5 pawn here, and so it's definitely not safe at all to castle queenside. But you'll see in this line right here, if we play maybe, let's say, queen b6 or queen to c7, we are actually pretty well protected on the queen side. So the decision that you have to make here, and it's not one that I'm going to go too far into right now, is you can play castle's kingside, or you can play castle's queenside and go for an attack. And that just depends on what you think of your opponent so far. Have they played super passive? Do you think they are good at defending? Or do you think that they will not be able to defend against the attack of you pawn storming their king? And so, really, this is the point in the game where you just have to decide whether you're going to go all in or whether you're going to play it safe. A lot of the time, I would recommend playing it safe and moving your queen, giving yourself the option of castling queenside or kingside still. It depends on what white does. But for now, you are perfectly safe in the center, and there is no reason why you need to castle. So, that ends my tutorial on the Najdorf Sicilian. It's these structures right here with the c5 at the start and just taking space from your opponent. That really waiting for them to make a mistake. If you're not quite comfortable with how the opening is set up, I would maybe watch this video again, try and get a feel for how to play this opening, and then after you have either decided, okay, I have a good grip on this, or I maybe need to watch it again, then it's time to actually try it out maybe in a game. So you have two options. Either go ahead and go straight to a game, try out this opening against another player, or you can go ahead and watch this video again and try and get a better hold on what exactly is happening in this opening. So have a great day, and I will talk to you at the end of club.